And here we are for the introduction of RemSy, which is a new product, kind of slash product slash service from PCS, Productive Computer Systems. And I'm very pleased to be able to bring it to you and show you how it works and show you what it does. First little story behind the thing is I went to see a doctor for a little condition, which I won't bore you with, some 4 or 5 years ago. And due to the circumstances of the condition, he told me that I need to come back after regular intervals to for follow-ups to check to make sure everything is okay. As you can see, I'm still with you, so obviously whatever they did work out, but they did have to come back for a while, every like 4 months and then every 6 months and so on. And so the problem with this situation was one time when I was basically set up an appointment, they do the usual deal. They give you a little piece of paper, a little card, and write down the appointment date and time for when you're supposed to come in, which of course is, like I said, in that case was like 4 months or 6 months after the fact. And so I go to do my stuff, a lot of stuff I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow because of the schedule changing all the time. And I do have a calendar. I use Google Calendar religiously, but still, there's a lot of things that are going on. And so I did not enter that particular appointment into my Google Calendar. And that's why the religious part needs to be exactly right on. Otherwise, it doesn't work, obviously. And so then next thing that happens is they do have a service where they call you on your phone and leave a voicemail. So they did leave a voicemail at my house, but my son picked it up and he forgot to tell me about it. Long story short, I missed the appointment because after so much time, I had no idea I was supposed to have an appointment. And then, of course, they called me the following day saying, did you know you missed an appointment yesterday? And obviously, by that time it was too late. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking that a lot of doctors' offices and a lot of actually other businesses too could use a service, because I asked immediately, I said, if you just would text me, or email me or something, can you do that? And the answer was no. We cannot email you, we cannot text you. They had some kind of system. They said at one point it didn't work very well. Long story short, they couldn't do it. So I thought it would be very useful for them, and it'd be very useful, I think, for just about any office where similar situations can occur, to have a simple to use, at the same time very workable system to make sure the appointments don't get missed. And of course, when you're talking about doctors, I mean, they try to schedule things pretty tightly, and it's a loss of revenue situation if people don't come. It's a hassle if people don't come. You have to call people back and reschedule. I mean, it's just a bunch of different drama situations that occur simply because people were not notified like they should have been notified. And so my tablet here is chiming. I apologize. So with that being the case, that's where the idea for RemSy came to life, and now it's ready to actually be brought to the world, so to speak, to use, starting with that doctor and anybody else who wants to use it. So let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this presentation that I put together that will make it a little easier to digest here. Let me see here. So we'll go to the screen here and share. And hopefully this time HOA will actually record it, not like last time, so you can easily see it. So here we are. RemSy stands for Reminder System. Just a short, I just shortened the letters as you see here, and that would be kind of a cool name. And so it's just RemSy. And the system itself is 100% web-based, completely in the cloud. It's cross-platform, cross-browser, meaning you can use it on PCs, you can use it on Macs, you can use it on different browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Opera, whatever you want to use it on. The system is basically set up to use responsive design, so you can use it on any devices in any orientation, and it's still going to look good, and it's still going to perform appropriately. The system is branded, meaning that each incarnation of it for different businesses will have their look, their logos, their colors. So you'll be seeing today the demo specifically tied to this particular doctor's office and the way his website is and the way his colors and logos and everything else. But each installation of RemSy will be very customized to be branded accordingly. So when you give it to your customers, they'll clearly see exactly what they should be seeing in terms of your branding. In other words, what I'm trying to say, it's not branded to me as PCS, it's branded to whatever business is using it. And it's going to be customized for each business. It's very easy to use. This is one of the key things that I wanted to make sure is that, there's all kinds of different things out there that do reminders. And, we have our Google Now, we have our Inbox, we have Google Keep. I mean, those are just the three that do reminders and are pretty potent in terms of what they do. So the question becomes, why another one? And as I explain it, you will see that this is not exactly the same thing. It's quite different in terms of how you use it. And for a particular purpose I'm talking about, it's geared to be a totally different use. So I wanted to make sure that this works very easily for people. And I wanted to set it up in such a way where you don't need to worry about complications with having to do with installation of software, configuration of software, support. I mean, all that stuff is basically, I just wanted to get it out of everybody's hair. So it's very easy. You just get your stuff, you have your links to whatever you need to get to be able to use it, and you just start using it. That's it. So there is practically no training involved. Almost everything that you need for training, you'll see today. It's not much more than that. So it is potent in terms of what it does, but at the same time, it's very, very easy to use. Very simple. Flexible magic for multi-party use. I'll explain that later, what that means. But as I do the demo later on, you will see what I mean about. I'll bring back the flexible magic concept. And it's available. I initially, when I wrote it, obviously I wrote it for a doctor's office initially, and I thought that this would be very useful for business uses. But this morning, actually thinking about other uses of it, I think it could definitely be used for personal use as well. And I'll describe what I mean a little bit later when we talk about it some more. So what are the pros and cons in this system? The pros are, as I mentioned, simplicity. It's very easy to use. The system is pretty simple. The system is flexible in terms of how it operates. And again, when I do the demo, it'll be easier for you to see what I mean about that, back to the magic concept there. And also it's available to run on all platforms and devices. Again, you can run on Linux, you can run it on Windows, you can run it on Mac OS, iOS devices, Androids, everything you can imagine you can run this on, in any orientation, by the way. So because it is responsive design. Basically, it's using links and QR codes for its functionality. So everybody kind of knows how that works and how to use that. So it's pretty simple. And there is nothing to download. As long as you have access to it, you have immediate use. So there's nothing to upgrade. I mean, you're just using it. And if there's any changes to it or anything that needs to be done, PCS will take care of it. And you just continue to use it as you were before without any changes on your end. And it's 100% in the cloud. So you don't have to worry about... the cloud part. And in terms of cons, it's not paper. So like before, you would have a little card, and you'll have to keep track of the card and so on and so forth. This is not it. It's totally 100% digital. There's no paper involved whatsoever. If you know me, you know I'm not big into paper. And personally, I think it's a good thing there's no paper. But for some of you who do like to use paper, I guess that would be a negative here. So that's my only con. Okay. And there goes paper right there. Right in front of our eyes. It just disappears. Okay. So who is it for? Doctors is a natural choice. Lawyers, potentially. People have people coming back all the time. Car mechanics to schedule appointments. So essentially, and then from personal use, I think parents could use it too. And I'll go into more detail about that shortly. But the idea is it's for basically anybody who needs to be able to get reminders or send reminders to somebody, preferably repetitively, because if you only need to send one reminder, it's not worth having a whole system just to send a reminder. But at the same time, if it's something you do repetitively, then it makes it much more beneficial to you. And so basically just about anybody needs to get reminders for whatever purpose that might be. And whether you need one or not, I don't know. I mean, it's up for you to determine if it's something for you or not. But as you see, it's working. You can see. But I think it could be useful for both businesses and individuals that need that kind of functionality. They need to be able to send scheduled reminders. That's the key about the system, is it's a scheduled reminder, not just any reminder. And that's one of the things that I mentioned earlier about the things like Google Keep and Google Now. Those are based on particular cards or based on you setting up a reminder for something, but it's going to remind you. And the difference between this and RemSy is going to remind you if you want, but it can also be reminding your customers. I mean, that's who initially it was intended for, and still is, obviously, because I was a patient at this doctor's office, and they needed to set up a reminder for me. So they're doing a reminder, but they're setting it up for me. And that's the difference between doing it using other reminder type systems like I said, like Google Now and Google Keep. Those things you usually set up for yourself, not for anybody else. In this case, RemSy, you set it up for somebody else. You can still set up for yourself too, but initial main objective for it was to be able to do it for somebody else. And in the way it actually turned out, you'll be able to do for both. That's where this flexible magic thing comes in. So what are the requirements to be able to run RemSy? You just need a computer running anything. You need a tablet or a smartphone. So any of those things will run RemSy. You can run everything on the computer and nothing else, or you can do it on the computer and a tablet, or tablet and smartphone, or like I said, any of those combinations, any brands, any operating systems. Yes, it even works on iPads and iPhones. That's my reference, since PCS is not big into Mac stuff and Apple stuff, so they throw it in there. So it works with any and all of them, basically. And of course, because it's a web-based, cloud-based system, you do need to have your internet connection to be able to access it. It does not work offline, and at this point, there's no plans to make it work offline. So it's definitely an online environment. The beauty of it is you can connect to it from just about any computer in the world with your login. So as long as you log into your account and you're able to get to your links or to your QR codes, then that's all you really need to be able to use it from anybody's computer. So it's ubiquitous access anywhere in the world, as long as you have connection to the internet. Okay, and because it's fairly low bandwidth, you could, I haven't used it with a dial-up, but I'm pretty sure it would work fairly decently with a dial-up. It just depends how extensive you want the graphics to become in terms of logos and things like that. If you don't need it to be too fancy, then I'm sure it will work pretty quickly in the even dial-up environment. But most people now run broadband, so it's no big deal. So it works pretty fast. But that's all you really need. You don't need anything special. So how exactly does it work? Now with all this mystery in front of us, how does RemSy work? RemSy uses simple links and QR codes, and you can use either or, by the way. It's set up for you to use both to initiate its operation. Okay, so as you can imagine, to set up an appointment, you fill out a little form to indicate date and time when you want to be notified, and you'll see it shortly here. So you'll see it's got a couple of things you can put in there. So the form itself is brought up via either a link or a QR code, but the actual link to it, that's what kind of makes it unique, as you'll see as we do the demo shortly here. And so what's happening, you fill out the form originally, and it's what I call a generic form. And the RemSy learns from that exactly what it needs to be able to do it later without you filling in all the contact information twice. So you only put it in once, and then from that point on, it's smart enough to know it basically gives you links that in QR codes that allows you to access the functionality of setting up reminders, as many as you want, but you don't have to re-enter your information again. So it's kind of that's part of the flexible magic, as I call it, is whereby the system takes some information from you originally, it learns what you typed in, and then subsequently you use the same not some, same, it should say, familiar interface. Although this information will already be pre-filled, and then you can go ahead and just put in the date and time of the needed reminder, and from there the system takes off. So the idea here is to create something that's very brief, because nobody has a lot of time. You don't want to be filling out huge forms. You don't really want to be dealing with, at least a lot of people don't want to deal with registrations where you have to put in username, password to get in, and there's a bunch of hassle involved. In there, we all have to deal with it, but preferably to make it simple, you'd want to eliminate all of that. But at the same time, it needs to know who you are and so on. And that's how this flexible magic, as I call it, interface was set up. So it works, I think it works pretty decently from that standpoint. And so the only thing you're really putting in the form subsequently after the first use is the date and time of when you want to be reminded. And optionally, you can put in a little comment that'll show up in the email notification, email reminder. But that's optional. So if you don't want to, all you really need to do is put in date and time, which is the minimum you need for a reminder. And it'll work just fine. And then what happens is the system, then once you put it in, you're done. And then the system automatically, without you having to do anything, both sends you emails and text message, basically, email and text message, notifying you that this is happening and it's happening today, and you need to go ahead and take care of it. So that's basically the how the thing works. In terms of features, as you can imagine, being a reminder system, you get email with details, meaning the date and time of the appointment, clearly indicating who sent you this particular reminder. So if you have multiple different doctors that use the system, then it'll clearly identify from which doctor or from which car mechanic or whatever it happens to be that it happens to be sending you. You'll know exactly where it's coming from, and then it'll tell you, when you do initially enter the reminder, you'll get an email telling you that you just set it up and it's going to be coming on the day of the event. And then, of course, when that day comes, you'll get an email indicating you have this appointment today, or this meeting, or whatever it might be, reminding you of the event. And then also in terms of email features, you can easily add any reminder to Google Calendar with a single click from Gmail. And of course, that's something that's very useful. Can't claim that this is something I invented or anything. It's part of how Gmail now works, where if you put in the date and time in proper format into the email itself, it'll automatically make it be a link. So you can easily add that date and time to your Google Calendar as an event, and you can put in all the details there. So I'm putting it as a feature because it's very useful, and I specifically set it up so it will give you a link in your Gmail when you get these, so you can add them to your calendar if you wish. That's totally optional. But if you wish, you'll be able to easily add it with a single click. And then the other feature of the email, also you'll get the optional custom message in the email reminders. And the reason those only come in emails is because I wanted to keep the texting part to be so it can fit in a single text message. And one of the problems with text messages usually is people text you something, and if these people are not in your contacts, you just see that there's this phone number that sent you this text. You have no idea who this person is. And so you get an email, you get a text message from a phone number you've never seen, and it says, hey, want to go to the movies? And you have no clue who said that. And so you wind up with going back and forth with who's this and so on and so forth. So, and then of course the worst thing is that you find out in the end that they actually texted the wrong person. But even though that's a typical thing, I wanted to make sure this doesn't happen here. So the SMS part of the reminder that comes in just has the time and date, but also indicates where it's coming from. So that's part of the text message, so you know exactly who's sending it to you. And then, of course, the reminders are created using either links or QR codes, which you will see in the demo. So that's kind of what the features are like. And according to my deal here, it's time for the demo. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and flip to another screen here, and I'll just minimize this one. And let's jump into okay, so what we'll do is I'll show you a couple of things. So the first thing is I have this link to the actual form, to the RemSy itself, the initial form, and I'm just going to go ahead and go to it. As you can see, I have the QR code for it and also have a link there. Okay. And so this is it right there. This is the doctor that I was mentioning earlier, and that's his logo and stuff. And just to show you, well, actually, I don't have his URL right now. So it looks very similar. What I wanted to say is very similar to his website in terms of colors and in terms of obviously it's his logo and so on and so forth. So the idea here, you can see that this is actually a demo I did for him. So it says developed by PCS and so on. It's not going to have this message for the actual released version because, well, I just don't want to put myself, put the company basically right there at the top. So the whole idea is it's your own form, it's your own branding, and so it really doesn't need anything PCS related on there, and there won't be anything like that. Okay, so don't pay any attention to this part developed by PCS. It's just part of my demo for him. So it says, it's an appointment reminder, and as you can see, it says required. So some of the fields here that have little red stars are required. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my phone number, 9034. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm with AT&T. Unfortunately, the reason I have to use the carrier is because of the way I do texting. Google doesn't provide right now a effective way to do SMS messages, so I have to do it using this other approach. So that's why it's asking you for the carrier, and all the major ones are there. And then I put in my email address. So I'll put in oleg@pcsworks.com. And I would say that the appointment will be, let's just set it up for, just for the heck of it, for tomorrow, July 9th. And so you can see it's got nice little calendar pulls down. And in terms of time, we'll do it for, I don't know, 2:30 p.m., let's say. You put in date and time when it's supposed to happen. And then the comment here would be, this is Google HOA about RemSy, just so it's got some kind of text message. Again, this text message is optional. So the first time around, when I do this, I go ahead and do that, and it says your response. You can see this is set up using Google Forms as the underlying thing. Under RemSy, there's a bunch of code to go with it, but the actual form part is using Google Forms. That's why it shows what it shows, and I can submit as many of them as I want by just clicking the submit another response. So if I go to my email now and show my email screen, then you can see that that I have this message here, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. There, and company can see it, and you can see right there it says, hello, you have an appointment today at 10 a.m. Please arrive. Oh, because I put in today's date. Okay, that's why. 10-15 minutes earlier to complete the paperwork. And it shows the text I put in there, as you can see here. And it says you can set up another appointment via a reminder via your custom link. And there's the link. So the key thing is this, that this is a different link than they used before. Okay, so the system will give you a custom link that looks like this. Okay, and this particular link, if I click on it, which I will do right now, then what's going to happen, it's going to, well, before we do that, let's just, so it says, thank you for choosing such and such. So all this text obviously is custom branded to whatever business is being used. You can put whatever text you want. And then down at the bottom here, it's got name of the company, and it's got the map and directions using Google Maps. So the person has everything they need from this email, essentially, to be able to get to their, where they're supposed to go. It's got date and time, things like that. And there is the link to add to calendar, by the way. See, it says add to calendar. So if I go ahead and click on this link here, just wanted to show real quick, notice that now it'll come up on the screen, no hands. You can't see my hands, but I'm not doing anything. You can see by the cursor. But notice now that even though the form looks identical, At this point, all of the fields that I need initially set up for the contact are completely pre-filled. In other words, I don't need to do anything in terms of filling it out. All I have to do is simply click on the date I want to set it up. So let's say we'll set that up for, I don't know, August 1st or something. And we'll go ahead and set it up for 10 a.m. Okay. And this is the Ina's birthday. My sister's birthday is next day, so I'll put it in for that. Okay, and of course you can change it at this point. I mean, if her birthday is actually on the 2nd, so I'll just put it on the 2nd. Okay, so it reminds me in the 2nd. Okay, and then I just click on submit, and basically I'm done. So every time somebody does that, it'll send them a notification, which will come here shortly, and you will see that particular notification will have, see, it comes pretty quickly here. It says you have an appointment scheduled for Sunday, August 2nd at 10 a.m. You'll receive another email the day of scheduled appointment as well as a text message. We recommend you bookmark your custom URL, and it gives me the custom URL, or scan the QR code at URL such and such so you can easily create future reminders. So the idea here is that it tells me that I already have this set up, so it's kind of acknowledgement of what I got set up, and it's going to send me another email and text message on the day of this appointment, indicating that I have this particular appointment at that time. Okay, and at that point, the email will contain the optional comment there that I put in, and of course, since I put it in, I'll see it. So you'll get notification when you set up a reminder. So it's basically it's an acknowledgement that you did really set it up, in case you're wondering if you set it up or not. And then at the same time, you'll get obviously notified when the actual time comes. And this custom link is what you use all the time. And also notice that it also says, or scan QR code at this address. So if I click on this address here, then it's going to take me to a page that has a QR code that looks like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just jump out of my screen share here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera here a little bit, just to show you that, I have the QR code right there. Okay, and I'm going to grab my phone. See if we can make this work. I'm going to grab my phone, and I'm going to click on the phone. I'm going to click on this little barcode scanner program that every phone has, or at least you can download it for free. It doesn't cost anything. And I'm simply going to put my phone like this so it scans this code. If I can get it into the deal here. And so once it scans it, it comes up with the URL, which I just click on to get to. And as you can see right there, this is exactly the same form we were looking at before. And it's using my custom magic URL, flexible magic URL as I call it, which means that it already has the things pre-filled. As you can see, there's the phone number, the email, all of that is pre-filled. All I have to do is simply pull down and select, we'll set up August, I don't know, 7th or something. August 7th, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. for something. So I'll just put that in, say set. So as you can see right there, there's my time. Oh, I don't know if I can. There we go. You can see that 7:30 p.m. And then comment, I can put in comment, or in this case, I'll just leave it blank. But I could type it in, obviously, something I could put in. And then I just click submit, and that's it. I mean, it's as quickly as that to submit another response. So I can type in as many of these as I want. If I flip the phone, if I enable on the phone to use the rotation capability, like all phones have, then you can see that it still looks nice. It still fits in just fine. You can still see the logo the way you're supposed to see it. You see basically everything just fine, even in this orientation. So it works equally well in both orientations, and it's responsive. Also, I can, just to show you, I'm going to take my tablet here, and I'm going to go ahead and log into my tablet. How do you know that's my tablet? Because it says right there, see right there, it says Oleg's Don't Touch. That's how my kids know it's my tablet. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And hopefully you didn't see my password. I know you didn't. And then it gets me to, usual tablet deal. And then I also have the same barcode scanner on this tablet as well. And so I'll click on the button, and I'm going to go ahead and scan the code here. And then it beeps. And I'm going to go ahead and just show you real quick here like this. So you can see there's the scanned URL. I click on it, and in just a second right there, it pulls up the form. As you can see, still, let me just put this down so you can see it easier like that. And as you can see, the form is pre-filled with information just like we had before, the phone number, everything. And then all I have to do is just, select my date and time, put in my appointment, and so on. So essentially, its functionality is exactly the same. It looks equally well and works equally well in both tablets, phones, computers, whatever you want to use. It works both in portrait and landscape mode, and it works on all the different platforms and everything else. I'm not gonna fill it out because you know what I mean. So basically, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's a very simple system. It was invented to be a very simple system to use. So essentially, you take your device, you scan your custom code, you put in the date and time, and then when that date and time occurs, can't even speak today, then you get the notifications via either text message or phone, not or, but and phone. And so if I go back to when I was doing this test here, let me see if I got my messages here, so I can show you that stuff too. Yeah, so basically the one that I put in as a test, as you can see right there, it says, the appointment it's got the subject, it's got your appointment today. It says, messages, name of the company, appointment at 10 a.m., and changes questions, please call. And of course, because of the way the phone functions, if I do need to call these folks, all I have to do is click on the phone icon, the phone number, and then it'll take me right to the dialer, and I can just push the button and call the number. And this is the beauty of this kind of system, is that it's really easy to get into it, really easy to set up this appointment using either the scanner with the QR code or using the link. And all of these things are in your email, so you can certainly get right to whichever approach you want to use. You can put the QR code on your refrigerator if you want, or anywhere else you want. You can just print it and paste it somewhere. You can have it available anywhere you want. If you're doing something on your computer, you can just use the link, so you're not going to be scanning anything. So you basically have full flexibility of either jumping into the form to put in a new reminder using a link from any of the devices, or you can use the QR code, which would be easier to scan using either a phone or a tablet. But essentially, the result is the same. It's highly customized to just go to you and remind you. And the flexible magic part I talked about has to do with the fact that the office of the doctor, whichever is using it, they would have the link to your custom link on their end. So on one hand, you have your link and your QR code. On the other hand, they have your link and QR code. And so what they can do is next time you walk into the office. So the idea is this: the first time you walk into the office, nobody has anything yet. So you simply scan the generic code like at the initial time. They ask you, do you want to be able to notify it? You say yes. You scan the code, you enter your information, you're done. At that point, they have your custom URL and you have your custom URL. And at that point, you can start just putting in reminders, and you'll be getting these reminders. But because they have it, if you want them to have it, then they're able to do the same thing. So they have these custom links set up for every one of their patients. And that way, they can actually set up notifications without this. Let's say you make a phone call to them and say, I'd like to schedule an appointment. So the lady asks you, or the gentleman that works there asks you, do you want a reminder? You say, yes, I do. And so they go ahead and use your custom link to create this reminder, and then eventually you will wind up getting the reminders in your email on your and on your cell phone on the day when it's supposed to be happening, but the actual reminder is set up by them. Also, alternatively, you can set up reminder yourself by using the exact same links that they were using. So that's where the magic part comes in the fact that the URL that you get, this custom URL, can be used by both you and the office. And it doesn't matter who really sets it up. You can have them do it. You can do it yourself. Functionality is the same. You still get notified on your end, and everything works out pretty well where you don't miss your appointments. When it comes to parents, I was thinking why this would be useful for parents. I was thinking if you have a child and you want to, send them some sort of reminder about something they need to pick up in school on Tuesday, and today is Friday. If you send them a text message, because normal question would be, I can send a text message. What do I need your system for? And yes, you can send a text message. The problem with text message is you cannot schedule it. You send a text message now, they will get it now, and of course then they'll immediately forget it because now is not Tuesday. And so this way, using this kind of system, you can actually send something which will notify them. Number one, it'll let them know right now that you're setting up this thing for them to remind them. And number two, they will get on that Tuesday, they will get a reminder that they need to do something. And of course, you put whatever they need to do in the actual comment right there. So it could be a useful thing for dealing with kids, reminding them of things. And this way, they're able to put their own reminders in there to notify themselves of whatever they want to be notified of. Plus, you can do your own to remind them as well. So it's kind of a cool thing. You don't need to be doing anything special there. In terms of office business use, it's convenient because you can take the same approach whereby you can set up a reminder for your customer. So it's convenient for them and they don't have to worry about it. They'll just get notified whenever the event occurs. And at the same time, they can use it on their end to also set up these reminders for visits to your office because they feel more comfortable or because they want to set up reminders themselves. They don't want somebody else reminding them, things like that. So you wind up with the dual benefit of having multiple parties. It's still private from the standpoint that nobody else will have these URLs, so nobody else can send you anything. But at the same time, you're able to deal with just the people involved, whoever you decide to share this URL with. And all these parties you're sharing it with are able to send reminders to this particular, to the both as text messages and emails to that particular person. So from that standpoint, it makes it very, very convenient. And with that, let's jump back into our presentation here. So I'm sure for business use, people are asking, okay, this is all wonderful, but how much does it cost? And the usual thing that everybody wants to know. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right back into the share here and present this and hide this. And let's move on to the next screen. And so in terms of plans and pricing, I've looked at some services that don't exactly do the same thing we do, but at the same time, basically do text notifications. And roughly, from what research I've done, it's about anywhere between 2 and 2.5 times of what we're charging. So it's definitely more affordable than a lot of other services that I've seen. Although I can't claim that I've looked at all of them, I just looked at a few of them. And that's the kind of pricing I saw. So basically, the price for business for unlimited reminders is $100 a month. And you can set it up for as many people as you want and for as many reminders as you want. And the process is pretty simple. You sign up for it. And once you sign up for it, we get all we deal with you or your designated people to get your look in place. So, the actual application looks congruent with your either website or your business look and feel. And then we go ahead and get you the links for generic one and get you the QR code for yourself so you can advertise it in the office. You can just have it available right there anywhere people come in. Would you like to be reminded? Yes. You can just point them to use the scanner thing to go right into it. So it's pretty simple. And basically then everybody's just using it. So that's the business approach. The personal deal for people who do want to do it for their kids, I set it up so it would be really cheap to use monthly if you decide to use it. And I set up to use at $10 a person a month. So obviously the use is very similar, but for business it's more expensive. But the idea here is to make it much more affordable for personal use, mostly because there's not going to be so many reminders on a personal level anyway. And we would also set it up if you want to notify, if for example you have several kids that use the same device, then you could just get one account. You don't have to have multiple accounts. But if you want to have multiple notifications sent to different people, then that's where the $10 a month comes in. So I figured for most people they want to notify a child, then $10 a month is not too much to pay for something like that, and it could be a convenient thing if you find it valuable. So that's basically the pricing. Is $100 per month for business use and $10 per month per person for personal use, unlimited reminders in both cases. If you're interested, you can contact PCS using the link below there through Google+. You can also contact us on the website pcs-works.com, and we'll be happy to set it up for you. It's available as we speak right now, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You can put them either in the actual event itself or address them to me personally, however you want to do it, and I'll take care of the answers. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you very much. And that's the introduction to RemSy reminder system from PCS. Thank you. Bye.